Yeah, it's CC, CEO, wanna change your life, come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that could teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings, you about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black on firm, but we ain't all black too.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and I am live, and I am here to talk to you today. I'm so happy to be right here in front of you. And remember, every time we get together, this is a dialogue and not a monologue, so I want you to talk back to me while you talking black to me. All right, listen, you guys. Before we get started, real quick, I want you to put in the comments where you're watching from, because I know we have people that watch from all over the world, and I love shouting y'all out. So put in the comments. I know we have people that watch from China and Europe and Chicago, and I'm in DC and California and all these different places. Put in there, what's up, D Hodges? What's up, Nicole? What's happening? I have something really special. D Hodges, where are you from? Nicole, where are you from? I see CN Gunn from Washington State. Yes, yes. Tanisha is from Georgia. What's up, Rasha is watching from Vegas. Yes. Somebody said Colorado in the house. Yes. Nicole is watching from Fremont. Dana Hodges is watching from Cali, and all of you guys are coming in, and this is so exciting. Michaela from California, this is so exciting, and we got hundreds and hundreds of people that are on here right now, and I'm excited because I love you guys. I love you guys, and I want the best for you. Make sure you subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queen. Make sure you subscribe to Constance Carter on YouTube at CC the CEO. Instagram, come follow me on Instagram. I am Constance Carter, or on Facebook as well. But I love you so much, and I want the best for you, and I want to always present things to you that's going to add value in your life in some way. Okay, I'm always sharing, and it's so funny because last week somebody was like, she got it going on, but she sound arrogant, and it's like, girl, I'm just trying to give you, first of all, I'm trying to put you up on game, but I only share my experiences because I want you to know I'm just like you. I've happened to make some good decisions. I've happened to make some good investments, and I just want to share them with you. So if my successes or even my failures make you feel uncomfortable, then you need to go somewhere else, and you might need to log off and watch somebody who's going to make you feel good about your life. I am here to only try to add value because I love my people. I love you, and I want the best for you. So the information I bring to you, and if I happen to share a personal story, it's only to benefit you. Okay. So I want to talk to those who are starting businesses. What's up, Adriana from Baton Rouge, Michelle from South Carolina, Cedric from New York, Dana. What nerve, right? She said I was on here. She's like, she got it going on, but she full of whatever she said. She's arrogant. And it's like, it was cute. I love it. So trust and believe. I am never scared of your criticism. I love it. One time somebody called me bald-headed. It was great. Somebody said I was voodoo and practice witchcraft. All of those things are very funny to me, by the way. I just laugh because y'all don't know me. And the people who do know me, they love me, but it's all good. I love it. I love the interaction. So like I said, talk to me. I'm going to answer you. And we're going to, if you have any questions, because we're going to talk about business right now. We're going to talk about business today. So if you have questions specifically about your business and you want them answered here live, put them in the comments box. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about forming your entity, COVID. I love COVID. Black people, I'm talking to you. You have the biggest growth than any other race during COVID. Homeownership went from 43% to 44% during COVID. We had we were the most growing race in America. That's great. We've been known to be consumers and not investors. We've been known to spend money on things that don't matter. If we were a country, Black people, we would be the 6th largest country in the world because of our spending and because of our money. We just don't spend it collectively. We don't work with each other. So that's good. We have money. We're starting businesses. We're doing things that people aren't doing. And that's a beautiful thing. And I love that for us. I really, really love that for us. But I want to make sure that we're doing it right. And so people are setting up these entities. The reason why you have an entity to begin with is to protect yourself. Okay. It's to limit your liability. You don't go get an LLC or a corporation to use that corporation as yourself. It's not a front. It's to protect you. It's to protect you from any type of if a lawsuit, or maybe you have to file bankruptcy. You want to protect your personal self. Okay, so that's the reason why you get it. I've been seeing these gurus on Instagram talking about get an LLC, then put it in trust, and then you do like this, and then you do like that, and then you do like this, and then all these people got LLCs. Like probably all y'all watching. How many people in the comments? Be honest, and it's cool. Got LLCs. I got LLC. I got several LLCs and corporations. Some I use and some I don't. Some I get them all with the intention of using them. Just like my domains. I got hella domains. Every time I come up with a bright idea, because I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, right? I come up with an idea all the time, and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him with this idea. So I'll come up with this brilliant idea in the middle of the night, and I'll go to GoDaddy and I'll reserve that domain. And by the morning, I'll be like, that was dumb as shit. That was dumb as hell. What was I thinking? Must have been dreaming. So between, the domains, I'll go and reserve that domain. If I go further and I'm like, okay, this is a really good idea, then I'll go and I'll start I'll get some type of entity, because what I understand is an entity is there to monetize. And so a lot of you have these entities and you're not monetizing, you're not making any money from them. And the whole point is so that we can make money from them. And so I have an expert that is joining me today that I'm so excited about. And we're going to talk all about entities. We're going to talk all about what's the reason, what's the correct way to make your entity too legit to quit. I'm so corny. My kids will definitely say I'm corny, but I want to make sure that your entities are too legit to quit. Yes, I'm a cornball. Yes, I was raised in the 90s. I was born in the 70s. My prime time was the 90s, and I'm still using that vernacular from the 90s. It's all good. I know some of y'all with me. I know some of y'all 40 plus is with me. So, but I want to make sure that your entities are too legit to quit. Okay. And there's a way to make sure that they are legitimate. Your entity is not legitimate unless certain things are taking place. Okay. So now before I bring our guests out, please, again, subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queen. Subscribe to I Am Constance Carter. Follow me on Instagram. Go really quick. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. And hit the thumbs up. You know why I want you to hit the thumbs up? Because when you hit the thumbs up, then it gets more traction. It gets more visibility. Because here's the thing. I'm not sharing. I know y'all want to keep the secret to yourself. That's the thing about Black people. We just like to keep everything to ourselves. But the whole point is to empower our community. The whole point is to that we can grow. And the only way we're going to be able to do it is if we grow together. There's that African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, we got to go together. And so sharing this information with as many people as you can is going to ensure that we go together and we grow together. All right. So Alicia says she want to be too legit to quit. How many people want? Put in the comments box. Put in the comments box for me if you want to be too legit to quit. I know I'm corny. Anybody want to be too legit to quit? Anybody want to have their entities too legit to quit? Sacred says she has or he has 2 LLCs. What's up, Tanya from Baltimore? Let's see. Waddell says they have entity. C and Gunn has 3. Anybody else? Thank you, Lemmy. I'm glad you loving this. All right. Demetra says she want to be too legit to quit. All right, bet. All right. So in order to be too legit to quit, there's certain things you got to do. And I was actually, okay, Alicia said she got to. Exquisite Woman says she want to be too legit to quit. Faux show. I actually stalled a little bit because my guest had fell out. Y'all don't even know behind the scenes. I'm watching her. She had fell off the broadcast, but I'm going to bring her on right now. And let me just tell you a little bit about her. She is Jaynette Lancaster with Lancaster Inc. She's a premier business development and consulting firm based in Northern California. That's my stomping grounds. It's my home. Her consulting firm is of experts is dedicated to helping businesses thrive and reach new heights of success. How many of y'all want to thrive and reach new heights of success? Anybody? Because I know y'all got these entities and you guys are so ambitious. I know y'all don't got these entities to not thrive for success. I know you don't got these entities so y'all can just sit on your laurels and, because some people just think that they're going to get rich by just doing a little bit. No, there's levels to this, man. You hear me? They empower organizations to unlock their full potential and achieve sustainable growth. How many of y'all want to grow and scale? Yes, that's life. Yes. At Lancaster Link, they understand the unique challenges faced by businesses in today's competitive landscape. That's why they offer a comprehensive suite of, and then it cut off. So I'm going to bring her on. What's up, Jaynette Lancaster of Lancaster Link? I'm so excited to have you here because I want to empower the people. I want people to know why, number one, they have a LLC, what they can do with it, how they can monetize from it, how they can scale and grow. Because I don't want people just to be sitting here with LLCs and paying these fees every year, and it's actually getting ready to go up. We'll talk about that. But before we get to you, before we ask the questions,
And
somebody said
that's why I love you, because you want to do that, and because we both do that. We mirror one another with
that's
that.
right. That's right. Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
All right. So listen, Jnet is about to share. Okay. So listen, why? What's the purpose of having an entity, LLC, S corp, corporation, or even being a sole proprietor? What's the difference and why? What's the benefit?
The benefit is to protect ourselves while we're making money.
All right.
That's the first benefit, right?
To protect
so we can
ourselves
have-
from what? What are we protecting ourselves from?
From all of those out there that think that they can take advantage of us and or sue us and or feel that maybe because we are in a sue happy state or a sue happy
California is.
world.
Everybody's not in
California is, but
California.
almost everybody is at this point, right? Everybody seems to have an issue with something. I was watching something on Instagram today, but everybody has an issue with something, and they will find a reason or a place or a reason to take you to court.
Okay, so I got ABC LLC, right?
Mhm.
And I go and it's I'm working on people's cars.
Mhm.
I work on people's cars through my LLC. I blow up the car and now the car don't work, and F what you and whatever it is that you do, because I'm not paying to get it. I'm not going to pay for it. What's your recourse?
My
as
recourse
the consumer?
as a consumer,
Mhm.
I can go and sue your company, but I
Can you
don't. I
sue me?
can't sue you.
Why?
I can't sue you personally, and I can't take your house. I can't take your car because your company is who is actually doing the work. Although you personally did the work, your LLC is covering you.
So you mean to tell me if I have an LLC and I do work in the name of my LLC and I do shady work or whatever, nobody can come after me personally. They can't come after my house.
They can't come after your house. They can't come
Okay.
take your kids. They can't come take your bank account if you're doing the proper banking.
Okay.
The proper
banking.
banking.
So let's talk about that. And that's called what? It's called piercing the corporate veil.
Absolutely.
So what happens?
And that's
when
a
you pierce
whole
the
nother
corporate veil?
thing. Piercing the corporate veil, as we've talked about before, you and I, is actually taking your corporation and making sure that you have all of your articles of incorporation, your statement of information on point, making sure that you are reporting and doing your taxes every year. You actually have a bank account in your LLC name. You're not commingling funds, and you are literally in compliance with everything. So they're not coming after you personally. That's your corporate veil. And then you can add on to that, Miss Constance.
No, you hit it on the head. So listen, just for those of you who have your LLCs, now I'm about to do business in my LLC's name. And I am just specifically doing business, and I go get some groceries, and I'm putting my personal money in my business account, and I'm putting my business money in my personal account. And maybe I need to just run over to Sally's and get me some hair real quick. How does that affect my business?
We are commingling funds, and you are no longer in business.
I'm not in business. Why? I can't go to Sally's in my business?
You may want to learn to pay yourself. And actually, at the end of the day, that totally benefits you. It benefits you and your business, because now they can no longer, because if you're doing that, you are no longer in business and they can sue you personally, because now the state and the federal government sees you as no longer an entity. You are a personal entity.
Correct. So when you pierce the corporate veil, so now when you start commingling funds, now you are no longer operating as an entity. The entity is now operating as you, and you are now the entity. And so now what's happened is you do that shoddy work. Who's getting sued?
You personally.
Whose house getting taken?
Mr. Lancaster handyman. That's who's getting sued.
Whose bank account's getting levied? Whose house getting taken?
You, and you.
Okay.
Mr. You Inc. That's who's getting sued, and that's who's getting.
So the purpose of having an entity is what?
To personally protect you and your personal assets.
But if they're not, if they're commingling funds and they don't have things set up properly, then they're not protecting themselves. So what's the point of them having an LLC if
There's
they're not?
no point of getting an LLC. There's no point in getting a S corp, C corp, nonprofit, none of the above.
Okay. So no point if y'all don't know how to separate your business from your personal, and I'm not gonna hold you. I've been in business for a very long time, 20 years, and I can't say because it's past that IRS, right? Wait, how far can the IRS go back?
7 years.
All right, it's been long before 7 years. And I ain't gonna hold you. I'm telling you this because in the beginning, and I had to learn this the hard way, right? Because I didn't have people that were there to teach me. You might have saw Sally's on the bank statement. You might have saw Ross on the business bank statement. You might have seen the liquor store on the business bank statement, right? Because I was not properly utilizing my bank account in the way it should have. So if they would have come at me at that time, or if I would have gotten sued, they could have actually come to me and they would have said, "Hey, you're not an entity. You're Constance. Whatever your entity is, that's actually Constance." Right. So, okay. So,
and I'll give you guys a quick tad way around that. It's not, I mean, everybody shouldn't do it, but if you wanted to give yourself a draw, you could do that.
Right.
So that's a golden nugget.
Talk about a draw.
So a draw is something like, say, for instance, once a month, or let's say once a week, you want to give yourself a couple $100. You would literally write yourself a check, cash reimbursement or cash, petty cash, whatever it is. But we would work out, or you would talk to an accountant or talk to someone that does this and knows what this means. But you would write yourself a check and do a draw of $100, $200, whatever that number is for you, and give yourself and put it in your personal account. And then you would do all of your additional expenses and things like that out of that account, so not out of your business account.
Do you think people should do draws, or do you think they should pay themselves?
I prefer that you pay yourself because it's more advantageous for you and the business at the end of the day.
Okay. So what's the difference between an LLC, a S corp, and a corporation? So why would somebody get an LLC over a corporation?
There's different complexities because there's also S corps and C corps. LLCs, and that's the thing right now. Everybody wants an LLC.
Yeah,
they don't even know why they want an LLC.
Right.
I just want an LLC because that's the fad right now. That's the mode that everybody's in. LLC. And what an LLC is, a limited liability corporation. What that means is it's limiting your liability to the corporation, and you don't have shares or stock. You're not putting yourself in a position to take this business to a higher level. That's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay.
You're limiting your liability.
Why would somebody have an LLC over a corporation? Let's just talk about corporations first, and then we'll get into the difference between the S and C. So why would they have an LLC over, or what would be best? I guess it would depend. You said that
it depends on whether or not you're going to have employees.
Okay.
It depends on whether or not you are going to have board members, or if you're going to have, if it's just going to be, you're going to be there by yourself, if you're going to have members, if you're going to have vice presidents, if you're going to have, C execs, C suites, there's a bunch that goes into it. That would determine whether or not why you have an LLC versus a C corp or an S corp.
All right, so let's get to the corporations. You have a corporation. So FYI, when you establish a corporation, and in some states, it's the same ease to do a corporation as it is to do an LLC. It's the same price in California to do an LLC and corporation. In different states, it's different. It's a different amount. But once you get into the corporations, you automatically you're a corporation. You're a C corp. And then how do you become an S corp?
You become an S corp when you're basically your own sole person in your corporation.
Right. And so what form you need? The IRS form 2553, because they have to fill out the IRS form 2553 in order to elect for an S, right? For the S election.
You do. You do when you're doing your federal forms.
Correct.
However, when you're filing with the state, you don't have to do that.
Correct.
So you do have to know that there's additional things that you have to do. So I know that a lot of people, when they're filling out or when they're filing for these different corporations and or businesses or entities, they never take the next steps. That's another thing that we never do. So everybody's like, I have an LLC, but they've never taken the additional steps to do the remainder portions or pieces that they need for their business.
Right.
They don't have their EINs. They don't have their tax IDs. They don't have, say if, for instance, you're doing e-commerce, you don't have your wholesale license, you don't have your resale license, you don't have any of those additional things that you need for your business.
Right. Okay. So the difference between a C Corp and an S Corp.
The difference between a C Corp and an S Corp is S Corps, because I just transferred over to an S Corp. Remember, I just amended mine. And the difference is, let me give you the exact definition. I don't like to give people
so when we talk about corporations, so she's
reminiscent,
the definition of corporation and S Corps. I'm going to tell you. So for me personally, I'm glad. So when I first got my real estate license, I was going to go because I didn't know anything about anything. I was going to get an LLC, but in the state of California, they will not allow you to have a professional business or professional services company as an LLC. It has to be under a corporation. And so then I had to decide whether I was going to do a C corporation or S corporation, because I could have had a C corporation, but because of some of the taxing issues, I decided to go S. But go ahead. Did you get to?
I'm right. Yeah. So an S Corp is a pass-through entity that reports its profits of the owner's personal taxes. This means that the business itself does not pay taxes on its income, but the owners do.
Okay.
A C Corp is a legal entity that is taxed separately from its owners, and it pays corporate taxes on its income and distributions, and its shareholders pay taxes on dividends received. So in a nutshell, if you do a C Corp, you technically pay taxes twice.
And that's
on an S Corp, you can get away with not paying taxes twice.
Okay, so let's break down the pay.
But I don't like to give people just that definition, because you have everybody then jumping into getting an S Corp, thinking that is the way to go. And that's not necessarily okay for everyone.
Right. We talked about that in our group, right? Because we're talking about, I was saying for people like us, there's no reason to have a C Corp because most of us have small businesses. And you were like, well, I got a C Corp and I had 52 employees. And so that's the reason why I had a C Corp. But let's break that down even further of why it's important to have a C Corp as opposed to an S Corp. Why would you want to have a C Corp as opposed to an S Corp with the 50 plus employees that you have?
And so sometimes it depends on how much money you're making as well. So when you're working with the CPA, and it also may depend on what your NAIC codes are. So depending on where you fall,
what's a NAIC code? Let's. So you now you got now you're doing acronyms.
So there's just so much in business, right? Everybody.
NAICS, a NAICS code. What is that?
That's a government code
of how
the government classifies you. In which you do business. So then it breaks down how they tax you as well. So they'll tell you things that what you can basically write off, how you can get government contracting and funding, basically even how you can get grants, how you can, what would be best for you to have a C Corp or an S Corp. So, and if you want I like to give definitions. I'm just a different type of person. So let me give you the exact definition of an NAIC code.
Okay.
And that is, they are the National Association.
No.
It's the Northern American Industry Classification System.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So what is that? So okay, go ahead and finish explaining.
Okay.
The difference.
And so it's just a classification of business establishments by type of economic activity.
Okay.
It is used by the government and businesses in Canada, Mexico, and the United States.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So for you, the difference between S Corp and the C Corp.
Oh, for me,
Yeah. So you were talking about the benefits of an S corp as opposed to a C corp. That's how we arrived, because you said NAICS code, and I wanted to make sure that they knew what you were talking about.
it would basically boil down to whatever business you're in and how much money you're making.
So for you personally, right? So for
me personally,
you had a C corp. Why did you have a C corp?
Because of the nature of the business that I was in and the money that I was making.
So you paid taxes twice.
True. However, because I had so many employees,
Mm-hmm.
it was more beneficial.
Okay, got it.
Mhm.
So for me, having an S corp was more beneficial because, like she said, she talked about the pass through. So you only get taxed once, right? So the corporation gets taxed. You as an
Correct.
individual or a shareholder doesn't get taxed.
It
But
doesn't
on a
get
C
taxed.
corp, the corporation gets taxed and the shareholders gets taxed as well. So for me, having an S corp, the corporation gets taxed. So whatever money it comes into the corporation, once it passes through the corporation, and whatever was left over, so whatever was the profit or the loss, now it comes to me and the shareholders of the corporation. So if there's a loss, I take the loss as a shareholder. If there's a gain, I take the gain as a shareholder. So now I'm only taxed once. So I don't have to pay taxes of the corporation and myself as a shareholder. I only pay one tax, if that makes sense. But for C corp,
but as a C corp, and me, the way that I did it, because me being a C corp and having all the employees I have, I'm only taxed on the employees that I have. However, me as the corporation, the shareholder, I'm only taking draws.
Okay, so you're taking draws, and are you paying yourself as an employee?
I am not paying myself as an employee.
Because if you were paying yourself as an employee, that's where you would be taxed.
You would be double taxed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Okay.
when you take yourself and you put yourself in a different tax bracket, then you turn around and you actually add the S corp as well.
Okay. All right. So Rebecca said
there's ways around it, and then you will see that other people do this as well. So you do different things to make sure that you are.
So Rebecca said LLC is probably better for someone just starting out. The naming of the business is the most important. You want to name the business a general name to make this an umbrella company, correct?
It depends on what type of business you're starting.
Right. So
it
now,
totally depends.
Yeah, because if it's a real estate company, you may want to make it a name for real estate, right? If you want a company that reflects what it is that you're doing, because if it's Butterflies LLC, they're like, okay, well, what does Butterflies LLC do? I mean, do they catch butterflies?
And then to be honest with you, there's certain LLCs. I mean, there's certain businesses that you cannot even start as an LLC.
Correct. Right.
So there's certain professions that cannot be an LLC.
Correct. And that's what I mentioned with the real estate. So in the state of California. So now I have an LLC in Maryland for my real estate brokerage in Maryland. And it's an LLC because in the state of Maryland, they'll allow you to have it in an LLC, but not in a corporation.
Correct.
And I just did that because I was just doing everything fast. I would have done it differently. Another thing about corporations, let me just tell you, reporting. Right. So they cannot report, like you don't have to report another corporation when you're doing business. So in the real estate field, in the real estate business, we have to self-report. Right. So if I do business with another brokerage, I report the money that the commissions that I pay to that other brokerage. Well, if I am a corporation, no money has to be reported. Or if I'm flipping properties, money doesn't have to be reported because it's a corporation. You do not have to. A corporation has self-reporting guidelines to the federal government, and you don't have to necessarily. People don't have to necessarily W-9 you, 1099 you. Excuse me, 1099 you.
And I'm going to explain that, and that's because she's 1099. She's 1099ing them, and that's why she doesn't have to report.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So nobody has to report me the income that they send me because I'm a corporation. Now, if I was an individual, if I was a sole proprietor,
she would have to report it.
Absolutely. They would have to report it for me. Yeah.
Correct.
So when we talk about business names, Rebecca said business names are the number one, the most important thing. And so why is that important? Or is that important?
That's only important with your branding and depending on what you're doing, like with regards to, well, what does she mean?
Mm-hmm. She just said she mentioned up here about the name. She was saying the name is the most important thing. Like you want to have a general name. You don't want it to be too specific. And you said it depends on the nature of the business, right?
It depends on the nature of the business. Yeah, it depends on the nature of the business and what industry you're going to be in.
So, for example, if I'm going to do business with the federal government, and it depends on what type of businesses I get with the federal government, because if I'm getting a government contract, it could be anything. I don't want to pigeonhole myself and say this is a real estate company if I'm looking at doing other professional services, right? So you want to have something more general. But if it's a
Absolutely.
real estate company, then people
Then it's a
might
real
want to
estate
know.
company.
Yeah, then you
And
want
then
people to know.
but you will be limiting yourself.
But you
Absolutely.
will be limiting yourself. But if you're specifically doing that specific work, then
And
uh,
you're okay.
then you're okay. All right, tell me about sole proprietorship. Like, why would people want to be a sole proprietor? What are the benefits of sole proprietorship?
Um, in my opinion, the benefits of sole proprietorship is that you have the ability to write off so many different things. You can do a schedule C, and you have the ability to function as a business.
So okay, so
Unless you have some other, I mean, that's my only, that's what I
the
use
only
it for.
benefit
That's
of a
my
sole
only
proprietor.
benefit of a sole proprietorship, unless you have
Okay.
something extra.
I see no benefit of running your business as a sole proprietor. Absolutely
Yeah.
none.
So I'm
No.
like, that's the only benefit. Is that, well, so you have a lot of people that put themselves in a position that they can't afford the additional taxes.
Mhm,
They definitely want to start a business,
mhm.
but until they get to a position that they are allowed, or that they're actually generating money, I
Okay.
suggest to them,
Okay.
hey, and or they can't even pay the initial fees to start a business. So
Sure.
I will take someone and say, hey, so these are the basics, these are the beginning basics, and then it puts them in a position of that business mindset. So
Mhm.
hey, let's start a sole proprietorship. This gets you started, and then we can move forward from there. So I'll put you here. This is what we do. Get you started. At least you understand, and you start working towards where you need to be.
So a sole proprietorship, so that would still require them getting a fictitious business name, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they still got to pay for that. That would require them to do what else? Get a
Fictitious
business
business
license.
name.
They still got to get a
Get it.
business license, right?
So that is good. Well, so I usually take them straight to the county.
Mhm.
So they're getting their business license.
Mhm. And
That
their
fictitious business name is their business license.
Mhm.
And then they are putting themselves in a position to understand what their tax write-offs are, and putting themselves in a position to start writing their business plans and understanding what it means to be in business.
So now, so you say I would tell people just to go as a sole proprietor as they're trying to build their business because they don't want to take on those extra fees.
Because they don't want to take on the additional expenses of actually being in business. Because I really want people to understand and know that you just don't jump into an LLC or a C corp and not know what you're doing.
Right. Because a lot of people are doing cart before a horse. They
Mhm.
have the businesses without having the businesses. They have the entities
Without
without
having the
having the
businesses.
business, right?
Mhm.
And that's a
And then
whole
the next thing you
problem.
know, they're getting a bill and they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And earlier you and I were talking about the new laws
Mhm.
that are
That
coming
get
up.
ready to come up in
And a lot of people are
2024.
not going to understand what's about to hit them.
So all the people who have LLCs, what's about to hit them? What's about to happen?
It is called a CTA, which is the Corporate Transparency Act.
The CTA, the Corporate Transparency Act. And the reason why that came about is because of what? Is because they were trying to regulate these larger businesses who were coming to the US that were committing fraud, but it
Mhm.
actually does not affect those guys. It actually
Because they know
affects
what they're doing.
yes, it actually affects the small guys who are not making as much money. So what happens with this the CTA?
So let me read it to you all, as I like to do. I like to give you factual information. The new law for the LLC in 2024, starting January, and a lot of people have been getting letters. So I'm a registered agent as well. So I have several businesses that I've gotten letters for them. And what this law states is that the new Corporate Transparency Act, which will require almost all corporations and LLCs to disclose their beneficial owners to FinCEN. The law aims to prevent money laundering and tax evasion by making ownership information more accessible. The law will go into effect on January 1, 2024, and there will be penalties for non-compliance, which is $500 a day.
Per day. So
The
guess what?
law also includes many exemption forms reporting for certain types of entities. But what they are requiring people to do in this is you have to register, and that means fingerprints, your driver's license, and I mean you have to have all of this in. You're going and doing a live scan and everything. So they're doing background checks basically on everyone that has either a corporation or an LLC that owns anything more than 25% of the company, which will probably be almost everybody that has an LLC.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Can you hear me? Said my
I can hear you.
You know what's crazy is all these people who ran, just like Rebecca said, ran to get their LLC. They got these LLCs, they're not functioning, and now they're about to get fined $500 every day because they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even have a solidified business, but they are getting these businesses, and they're there. This CTA is to regulate these larger businesses who are doing the money laundering. Guess who ain't doing the money laundering? Yo broke ass. But guess what? Who's going to get fined $500 a day? Yo broke ass. So it's very important that you are making sure that your business is in order. You can dissolve the business, and you will get a notification from the government on this, on how to resolve it or how to pay it. And it's just like in California. So in California, we have statement of information. Every year, I have to fill out a form. I pay $25. It's a statement of information. Who are all the people on my in my business? If I don't fill it out for so many years, they will levy my account, and they will have extra penalties, and they may even suspend my my corporation. This is not the fact for other states. So California has this in place. Other states don't. I have entities in Delaware. Delaware is an anonymous state where you go to Delaware or you go to Wyoming or you go to Nevada if you want to anonymize your entity. Well, guess what? There's no more anonymous entities. No more. Because they want that transparency for the people who are money laundering and broke people like us. I got to stop saying broke because I said yes.
We broke the broke
code. Yes. But the people like us who ain't making $50 million, who's not money laundering, we're the ones that are affected when it's supposed to be there to target. You know, sometimes I think these lawmakers make these laws and they don't even think about the laws that they make. It's like there's so many things that are nonsensical. No common sense. Like what they're doing is attacking the small guy who's just trying to come up, who's just trying to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and trying to start a business. Now you want to attach all these extra fines and fees on them, and it's not fair. But it's reality. So all these gurus, all your little Instagram gurus who told you to go out and get a LLC and put a trust on top of it and get this and get some money and put the money that way and all that stuff, and you just got the LLC, but you ain't did shit else, you about to be fined if you don't take care of it. So
if I can say this, I feel like they just, they know all these Black people went and got LLCs and been getting all this grant money.
That right there.
And they like, hey, we taking it all back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then some. Because once they get in your business, they're gonna see it, and everybody in trouble.
Think about this every time, because these laws have been set up. So how many? Wait. We get 500 tax benefits. 500. There are 500 tax codes. Ain't that what Brandy said? To the benefits you as soon as you get a entity, right?
Absolutely.
So these other people have had these entities for years. 4 years. Right? They've been protected for years. Now we have the freedom of information. We got this. We have more information at the palm of our fingertips that we have access to. So now we getting hip to the games that the Rockefellers and all of these white collar people have been doing for years. We're trying to tack on to it. And guess what? Now they're going to regulate our asses because they don't want us to have access. So that's a very real and valid point. And that's the very reason why I like to give the definition, because if we just out here just telling people, no, it's this and it's this, and they don't know exactly what they're talking about, then we are doing them a disservice. Correct. And so we need to make sure that we're giving the correct information and that you guys are getting the correct information. And that's why we do what we do, because we want to make sure that you're protected. We want you to grow. We don't want you to stop getting your LLCs, because we're going to talk about how to make money in the LLCs in a minute, but we wanted to give you some foundational pieces so that you can understand what it is that you're getting yourself into. So why you talked about what the benefits of getting a sole proprietor, being a sole proprietor is. Okay. So the benefits, I get that. The benefits to me is being a sole proprietor as you're building your business out, and then you can kind of get an entity later. I could dig that. But you still want to make sure that you're doing your business separate, right? So you're going to, as a sole proprietor, you're going to have, you're going to still get your business license. You're going to still get your fictitious business name or your fictitious name statement. So you're going to have you're going to have to still pay for those things, but you might not have the money, because in California it's $800. In other areas it's $300. In some states it's $250 to get some type of entity.
In some states it's a percentage of what you make.
Oh shit.
Sometimes up to like 8%.
Business licenses are that too. in certain counties. Like when you go do your fees every year, and you say you've made $1 million, that business license is going to be a few $1,000s because they want a percentage of your of what you've made. And so it could be very costly. So yeah, if you're just starting out, you might want to start out as a sole proprietor if you're serious. But for the sole proprietor, you're doing business as yourself. So what happens if you happen to? Am I echoing?
No.
Okay. So am I echoing? Is she echoing anybody? Okay. You was hearing me before. But if you do business and you fuck up the business, guess who gets sued? You. If you have to file bankruptcy, if your business ain't making no money and you have to file bankruptcy on the business, guess who files bankruptcy on the business? You. If there's a lien or an attachment that comes at you as a sole proprietor, guess who gets it too? You. And that's the whole purpose of having an entity. Go ahead, Janet.
However, we do have remedies for that too. It's called insurance.
What kind of insurance?
Liability insurance.
So what does the liability insurance do?
Liability insurance can keep you out of court. It can pay for those legal or legalities that you and your company may put yourself in as a sole proprietor.
Errors and omissions insurance?
You have errors or omissions, but it would be it's a general liability policy.
General liability policy. Yes. I've had all of those things.
Yes.
Okay.
And those that includes errors and omissions. You can have an additional piece to what is an aggregate that you add on to it. But that's a different conversation. But nonetheless, you can add that onto it.
Okay. So
there are ways.
There's ways
of protecting yourself. It's just a matter of knowing.
Okay. So I would definitely, me personally, if you are a serious business owner, get an entity because it's going to protect you. Okay. So we said sole proprietor. We talked about S Corp. We talked about C Corp. Okay. So the C Corp and the S Corp, those are different levels of protection. Now here's another thing too about having a S Corp. So the LLC is cool because you don't really have to have any board meetings and you don't have to keep, certain kinds of records. It's a little bit easy. It's kind of like an LLC. It's kind of like a sole proprietor. You don't have to do that much work in terms of reporting and record keeping, I'll say. But you still have that protection. And you could operate your LLC as a sole proprietor or as a corporation, right?
Yes.
But when you have an LLC or you have a corporation, S or C Corp, what kind of documentation do you need to keep records of?
You need to keep records of minutes. You have to have meetings.
Yeah.
You have to literally sit down, whether it's with yourself or with the rest of your C suite. That means your CEO, your CFO, your COO, your CNO, and you guys are deciding what it is that you're doing with the business on a quarterly basis.
And that's another way that the corporate veil can be pierced if you're not keeping those records, right?
That means any decisions that you're making. Hey, we're making this amount of hires this month. We are downsizing this month. We need to 10x our business this month. We need to purchase a building this month. We need to add 1,000 more stock. We need to buy out our stock. We need to make sure we whatever it may be, those meetings need to be had, discussed, and documented.
Yeah. So let me just tell you what I'm doing. So I am the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer of my corporations. Ain't nobody on the board but me. So when I have my meetings, I say, hey, self, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing? I'm good. Okay. So this month we about to rent out this building. Okay. We about to rent out a building. Hell yeah. We about to rent out a building. Okay. What's the rent going to be? It's going to be that. Okay. Let's go ahead and document that. Okay. Okay. So this month we're going to go apply for a credit card. We're going to apply for a credit card. Yeah. We're going to apply for a credit card. We're going to ask for $25,000. Is that cool? Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and document that. Hey, so we're going to get we're going to buy a building this month. For real? Yeah. Who are we going to go through? We're going to go through this company and we're going to make this application. All right. Bet. Document. So if you just talking to yourself, document that shit because you have to have these records. And I wish I had it here. But it's in my offices. I have a book. I have a black book. It has my. And
there's a statute of how many years you need to keep them.
Yes. I has my stock. certificates. It has my stamp, my seal. It has my seal, and it has all of my minutes meetings for whatever I do every month. So anytime there's a change, you need to have it documented in this book. So in the event that someone comes up to you, the federal government says, we want to see your book, you need to be able to show them the book. And every year, every time a change has been made, you need to print it out, type it up, type your minutes up for your meetings, and you need to document it. Okay. For the LLC, they do need to have an operating agreement, though.
Absolutely.
So what's the operating agreement for an LLC?
It basically states what it is you're doing, what your plans are, and how you plan to do it.
Okay.
Who you plan to have in there, how many members you plan to have, if you're going to be a sole member, all of that needs to be documented out.
Okay. Got it. So LLC, like just because you got an LLC, you still, the whole purpose.
And just so you know, this is all separate from what your business plan is.
Oh shit, we ain't even gotten to
and
the
your
business
marketing
plan
agreement, and your marketing, your pitch deck, and it just goes.
Oh shoot, we talking pitch decks? Oh Lord, okay.
And we haven't even touched on nonprofits.
Oh shoot, yeah, because a nonprofit would be the same process, because I have a nonprofit too, as filing as a corporation, but then you have to do the extra steps with the IRS for the nonprofit, right?
Correct.
And then with nonprofit, what form?
And then there's also the charitable registry, and then there's so much more. And I feel like I have so many more nonprofit clients lately, and I feel like they seem to get in a lot more trouble. They are more strict lately. They are not playing.
Why? Why are they cracking down on nonprofits?
I believe because, again, we as a culture have gotten so many nonprofits.
Conspiracy to keep us down.
I just feel like it is.
No, for real, it really is. Again, every time we get attached to something, so what you're going to start to see, because there are so many other benefits that we are tapping into right now. So there's ways that we're growing our money, we're generating compounded interest that have been going on for years, hundreds of years, that the Rockefellers have done, that Ray Kroc from McDonald's have done, that now Black people are getting into it. So I have some investment stuff that I'm doing where I have my own bank. Right? Black people are getting their own banks. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in this vehicle that is a bank that's building me compound interest, where I'm growing my money. I'm investing my money just like the bank's going to invest my money, but they're going to give me a 0.23% return on investment, right? Black people are starting to get hip to the game. So what we might start to see regulations in that area as well.
Absolutely.
Because Black people have been doing this for hundreds of years. Black people are waking up and getting hip to the game, and it's like, oh,
and they don't like it.
We got to get these tax codes. We got to put these regulations.
You see, just like they don't want us as a culture to even give back to us.
Tell me about it.
Where we had, and excuse me for not remembering who it is, but we had a group of phenomenal, well-to-do pillars of the community that were giving out grants to only Black women.
Fearless Fund. I know Arian Simone. I know her personally. Yes.
And someone took them to court to stop them from giving to other Black women because they said that it was
discriminatory.
It was approved, and then 2 days later,
they took it back. Yeah. So it's also hub zones for government contracting. So if you are trying to get your government, you're trying to get not the hub zone, 8A certifications. If you're trying to get your 8A certifications, they took that away because that was for minorities specifically.
Absolutely. I used to have that.
You had your 8A?
I did back in the day. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's an 8 year. That's an 8 year benefit, and that puts you ahead of the line when you're getting government contracts and government funding. So
I ended up with a CHP contract.
Wow, I'm sure that was a multi-million-dollar contract.
33
million. High five, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Millionaires up in this mother. All right, so but that 8A, they took that away from us because they said it was that's part of the affirmative action that they're trying to roll back. So now the only reason why they're in place to begin with is because when you look at statistically, these white-owned businesses are getting all the contracts. They're getting everything is going to them and nothing's going to us. They have to put mechanisms in place to give us a little bit of equity. We have
Just
no
a little though.
just a little bit.
Just
Because
a
we're
little.
still not taking advantage of them in the way that we could. I love being here on the East Coast, and I love being here in DC, and I'll tout it to the end of the earth, because when I go to these meetings, and I go to these meetings all the time, I go to a bi-county meeting, and I'm in Prince George's County, which is one of the wealthiest counties for African Americans in the country. And y'all, if y'all aren't in this area, for me, and I'm gonna tell you a little secret about the people here. These people are in a bubble. These people are in a bubble. Let me tell you why. Because when I go to these goddamn meetings, and I'm like, even Black folks, this, y'all got this, and they are so used to it that they don't realize it's special. Because I'm like, I feel like a foreigner coming from out of the country coming to this area. Because I'm like, and so the people here are like it's normal.
And isn't it so different than here?
Girl.
You know, I moved to DC in 2004.
Yeah, I don't know why you left, because yeah, there's a lot of
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, girl. But there's a lot of opportunities here for African Americans. When I go to these meetings, I go to the chamber. First of all, I went to the chamber, right? I went to the DC Chamber of Commerce, and I was like, is this the Black chamber? And they're like, no, it's the chamber.
No, it's
like
just the DC chamber.
75-80% are Black. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking, you know, I go to the Black chamber, and it looks like this in California. And they're like, we got $1 billion set aside for Black-owned businesses.
That part.
So then I go to the PG County meetings, and they're like, we got $8 billion, 40% set aside for Black-owned businesses. They are intentional about doing business with Black people. That's why I love it here. However, what we're talking about today is so relevant, you guys, because we don't have our businesses in order to be able to.
And that's the thing. We don't have our businesses in order, so we can't take advantage.
Yes.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
I just left an event this weekend, and I'm in a room full of about 50 people. A lot of them have had 2 and 3 7-figure businesses over the course of their time because they had their businesses in order. We need to be on that level as a culture.
3% of African Americans actually receive SBA loans. And I'm not talking about your PPP IDL. I'm talking about SBA loans. And I was a benefactor of an SBA loan when I purchased my building, and that was great. But again, it's and people like, oh, they discriminate against us. No, to be honest with you, we don't have our business in order in the right way in order to be able to receive it. And so we got to be able to do it. When a lot of people think of mayor, and here's what I've learned since I've been here, right? You talk about Marion Barry. Mayor Marion Barry. Outside of DC, people don't know this. Outside of DC, the only thing that we think about of Mayor Marion Barry, and I'm not even going to say it, you guys in the comments box, what do you know about Mayor Marion Barry? What was he in the 80s or the 90s? What is he most known for in the country? Mayor Marion Barry. What is Marion Barry known for? Huh? I want to know. Put it in the comments box. What is Marion? Yes, Judy. Yes, he's known for that. I'm not even gonna read it. Yes, that's right. Yes, right. Yeah, right. That's all we know, right? Let me tell y'all, it's a different world out here. Marion Barry is like Jesus here. Marion Barry created so many Black millionaires in DC area. He was the one that increased the economic development of African Americans in this area. That's why he was set up. So that's the reason why he got caught with the prostitute. The prostitute, if you look at the video, she was like, smoke this crack. He was just trying to get some booty. She was like, smoke this crack. So they set him up because he was helping Black people to make millions of dollars. Only thing we know outside of this area is he was a crackhead. Out here, they know him as the financial messiah because he's helped so many Black people. So you got to think about this. Every time we try to get ahead, you think about historically. I always say J. Edgar Hoover in 1955 said the biggest threat to America was Negro unity. COINTELPRO was to disassemble our unity because that was a threat to America. Not that we were unifying to take down America, we were unifying to better ourselves. But that was a threat to America. So think about this and how you do businesses and how you move forward. We got to move forward as a collective, as a unit, because the only way we're going to be able to make advancements is if we work together.
Absolutely.
There is a systematic agenda to destroy us in so many different ways. And we got to wake up to it.
Detach, disassociate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, Rishaw said working together is the key.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about let's get these entities funded. So now that we know we got to get them, we got to make them too legit to quit. Let me just tell y'all this real quick. And this is one thing I have to really emphasize. Your business is not legit until you have a business bank account. Y'all had these LLCs for the last 10 years or 5 years or whatever, and you ain't got no business bank account. Guess what? A lender is not going to look at your business as a legitimate business until the day you have that business bank account. It is not a legitimate business. I'll tell you that.
And your bank account needs to be seasoned.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just like, oh, I've had the LLC for 10 years, but I just got the bank account 2 days ago.
Correct.
That doesn't work. And it needs to be funded.
You got to have some money in it too. You got to have some money in it.
That part. Just a little, but it does need to happen.
So how do we fund? So once we get the businesses too legit to quit, with our bank account and all the things that we need. And oh, by the way, I have a business blueprint training. If they want to take that on mywealthroadmap.com. Jaynette, you took it. And she said it was Jaynette approved. And I'm gonna tell you, and you could also work with Jaynette too, because Jaynette does a lot of hand holding, and we're gonna talk about that too, with regards to getting your business together and getting set up, because you need a consultant that's going to be able to walk you every step of the way. But when we talk about getting them funded, because here's the thing, I had a business for a very long time. I bootstrapped. What's bootstrapping, Jaynette?
Funding your business with your own money when you shouldn't have to.
Okay. So most Black businesses fail because we lack the resources, because we're bootstrapping, because we ain't got the money. Not most white businesses, but white businesses succeed on a much broader level because they get funding. Okay. Absolutely. They know the benefit of funding. Me, I didn't want to get my business funded because I ain't want that debt. Right? Because we're taught we don't want no debt. But if we use a debt as leverage to build, that's why we use it. Right? How do we start to get the businesses funded?
You asking me?
Yes.
By having your shit together. Excuse me, but that part, and using her blueprint, because I will tell you, I learned some things because I also bootstrapped.
Okay.
And once I got to a position where I didn't have to, I still bootstrapped. But eventually I did utilize other people's money, OPM.
Okay. So there's ways that you can fund the business. How does a business fund on its own? Because a lot of us, we got challenge credit, even though I got my bookkeeping score to help you get your credit up 100 points a month. But how do we get business credit?
We need our DUNS number.
What's a DUNS number?
Dun and Bradstreet. And that's something that and it's free. You apply for it, but it's free. You begin to build your business credit.
So it's like the social security number for businesses. Okay.
And so a lot of people don't know about that. It's like, oh, I got my LLC. And that's why we
I got my EIN too. They got the EIN too.
I got my EIN and I got my LLC. And then another thing is EINs are free.
Earl, tell about it.
Some people are out here paying $75, $150 for an EIN, and you're like, "Are you serious right now?"
I was on the site because all these damn entities I got. I was on the site and I was thinking I was on the IRS site. It looked just like it was a copycat version of the IRS site because I've done it so many times, and this happens. I'm just plugging away, and at the end it said checkout, and it was like a couple $100 or what. And I was like,
or you're paying these other sites for them. I'm in a partnership with Inkfile, and I know some other sites that actually charge you for it, and you're not knowing that those are actually free. Really. So you get your DUNS number, but you get your DUNS number, and you go and you get your. I could pull this up right now, but you go and you get your 30-day. Come on, I got brain fog, but you go and get your 30-day creditors.
Oh, so your net 30s.
Your net 30s.
Who are your net 30s?
Oh, there's a list of them, but you could do Quill, you could do Staples,
Mm-hmm.
Office Depot, you can do a gas station. There's quite a few. There's tons, right? And if you do Constance's blueprint or her wealth,
Business blueprint
because
training.
I don't do that part, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But she and I can partner together,
Mm-hmm.
and you have everything that you need to be successful at getting your business together, as well as getting your business funding.
So in my business blueprint training, I actually teach you how to get your businesses funded. We talk about
Correct.
LLCs and how to, what's the purpose of the entity. But then there's a method in order to get your businesses funded. How do you get them
Correct.
funded? So you start small. You start with your net 30s. You can get them, like you can get a business credit card. Like you could start, and this is something that you can get from the gurus. They tell you get an LLC. Right, get it set up, and then you could get a credit card immediately after you get your LLC.
Right.
I've done that with some of my entities, but you have to have good personal credit for that.
Good personal credit.
Yeah, that's not something that you have to build over time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have some platinum American Expresses, and I have a blue American Express that I was able to get immediately after I started an entity.
So and however, I will say that it does work. So, and following her blueprint also works. I'm not just patting her on the back. I'm not. She knows that, and people that may be on the call that know me personally know that I have started business over. So it does work.
So what do you do? What's your role in helping people with their businesses and helping them set up their entities?
So I do more of the strategic planning and business development and helping your business grow financially. So putting you in a position to grow your money like you do, just in a different way.
What?
I do training and coaching. I do bookkeeping. I do brand identity and development. I have a la carte services. I do marketing research analysis to, I do the deep dive, the operational side of business. So I make sure that you have everything that you need in order to sustain and make sure that you're in business for longevity.
And that's the thing about it is, we don't want you to have a fly by night business.
Right.
We really want you to have businesses that are sustainable, that you can pass, because you can't pass down a job to your kids. You can pass down a little bit of money, but you can really help your kids and set them up by passing them down a business. Now, everybody's not meant to be business owners. No. So what are some ways that people who I just really want to work, I want to really have a 9 to 5, but I want to be able to have some kind of passive income. Should I set up a business? Should I have a business entity? How can I make some extra money with me still, having a 9 to 5? And I really don't want to just go out and have my own business. What are some things?
Absolutely. And why not? We all like extra money, right? Mm-hmm. And it pays for other things, right? Mm-hmm. You might have kids that got to go to school. You might have a hobby that can make some money. There's all kinds of ways that we can make some additional money, and why not put it in a business and make that work for you?
So if somebody is doing like Uber on the side or Instacart on the side, do you think they should put that in their business name?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it totally benefits you, and then it will put you in a position to leverage that money to make more money.
And then you also get the tax benefits as well.
Absolutely.
Did you guys know that more people like you who don't, and I don't say people like you, well, y'all got corporation now, but y'all ain't filing your taxes and your corporation names, but individuals get audited way more than corporations do?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a way to protect yourself, to limit your tax liability as well, right?
It is. And that's why I said, even the people that maybe, like you said, and it's great that you brought that up, people that are doing Uber and small things like that. Even if you don't do a corporation at that time, I would suggest you do a sole proprietorship, because you can still leverage that money and write it off. And you'll see like, hey, wait a minute, I am a business owner. I am an entrepreneur, and I can do something different and extra and benefit myself and my family differently.
Okay. Because that's what it's about. It's about legacy. So let me ask you this, Ms. Jaynette.
Yes.
How can people work with you?
They can work with me by going to my website at www.lancasterlink.com. And I have a special right now.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Hey, anybody that's setting up a new business entity, I'll give them all the specifics and everything later on, but I'm giving 30% off through November 9th.
30% off your services?
Yes, ma'am.
Woo!
And that will include the full package of setting up the business entity.
And all
Your
states,
DUNS number,
all 50 states?
all 50 states.
Okay.
Your DUNS number, EIN, operating agreement, depending on whether or not it's your, so everything that you need, including your DUNS number, it's just a full package. I'll give you the packages. You'll see them, all that great stuff. And it's all included and it's 30% off.
And they
through
get
November 9th.
30. Oh, so they better act fast. It ain't no,
Act fast.
I get you in 90 days when I get my
No,
tax.
no. And it has to be a new entity.
Okay, so not an existing entity. So she's
Not
going to help you set up your entity, get everything together. She's going to get you all the way together so that you're too legit to quit, so that you're protected in the beginning of the year. When they start doing that, they start finding $500 a day. Janette's going to make sure that you're all set up, and she's going to give you a 30% discount if you go to LancasterLink.com. LINC, right?
Absolutely.
Girl. So listen, one of the things that made me super duper happy, Janette, I think it was last week. Oh, let me just tell you guys, if you guys don't know anything, Janette is part of the Net 7 Collective. And the Net 7 Collective is a collective of women from all over the country. We get together and we learn different strategies to help us grow our net worth. And one of the things that made me so happy is last week you mentioned that you were working with Vanessa, who's also part of Net 7, and you had just set her entity up. That made me so happy, because that's the biggest thing about our group, is that it's not just coming from me, but we're collectively helping each other. What was also cool last week in our meeting was India was like, I want to be a comedian. And then April was like, oh, I know people who are writers from Saturday Night Live, and I'll go ahead and connect you with them. And she did. And she connected them. They're going to mentor her because she wants to be a comedian. So the resources that are in this cohort are absolutely amazing. I love that. I love you guys for that.
And
Y'all
I love everybody in this cohort. When I
so
tell
tell us
you,
about
it's been
Okay,
life-changing. And I needed it.
Tell me what happened.
What happened?
Yeah,
I
what
called
happened?
you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was vulnerable.
Mm.
I was a little afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And my girl, because she's my girl now. And I just have to let everybody know, I met Constance like 10 years ago.
Do you remember where you met me? I remember where we met.
We were at, I think, LLC, right?
Yep, Robert Glasper. I remember Robert Glasper was there.
In LLC.
Yeah.
Because I was on a date. Like I was on a date. Yeah. So anywho, we had a mutual friend, and he introduced me to her.
Who was our mutual friend?
James.
James who?
Surgeon. And and then you oh gosh, there's another guy. I can't remember his name right now.
Okay.
He moved away. Copacetic or something like that is his
SETI. He's out here in Baltimore. Yes. Okay.
He moved away.
Were we in Oakland? Were we in Oakland or Sacramento?
We were in Sacramento.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sacramento. And so she tells me about her business, and I'm like, ooh, I do that, but I like her. I like her vibe. I like I think I need her to come talk to my kids.
That's when I used to do credit parties.
Absolutely. And I had her come to my house and do a credit party for my kids. And I just been watching her over the years. I've been to her office, and I'm like, I just love this lady. I love how she loves on her kids, because I love on my kids the same way. I loved how she grew. I loved how she was the largest Black real estate company in Stockton. I just didn't do Stockton,
California,
but I would go and support her.
Mm-hmm.
I just love Black women that mirror me and are progressive and successful and give back. And that's who she is. I was going through some health issues. I had some other stuff going on. So I kind of went dark for a little bit, but I still kept watching her. And then life was just happening. And I was in this space. And then I'm like, you know what? She started this Net 7 thing. And I got her book a couple times, and I gave it to people and would do all these different things because I believed in her, and I trusted in I just think she's a phenomenal woman, right?
You're so sweet.
I love I don't like many people if they're not doing the right things or aren't speaking the right things or don't walk what they and preach what they, preach and walk what they do, right? If you're fake and you phony and you full of shit, I don't want to be bothered. I'd rather sit over here by myself. And I don't even cuss a lot.
I
So
do.
so she's somebody I respect. So, and that was true from day one when I even invited her into my home. So when I called out to her and I was vulnerable with her and I literally shared my story with her and how I was feeling and things that I've gone through and where I am in my life. And she's like, I don't care, you're doing this anyways.
She tried to back out.
I did.
She got scared. She's like, I didn't know.
I'm like, I'm just in this space.
Sometimes
And I
people
will tell
save
you
people from themselves, and I recognize that. This
and
is
she
what you
did that.
needed.
And
Mhm.
then she brought me to a group of these amazing, well diverse, off the hook, loving, go getting, doing the damn thing women. And it's what I needed. And I'm back being the boss that I need to be.
Yeah,
So I'm happy.
that makes me so happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me so happy to be able to sit on the front row and watch you all soar in the way that you are, and the way that you love on each other, the way that you do, and the way that you support each other. I mean, listen, there's several ladies on in Net 7 that are watching you right now. They don't even watch me. I be on this mug every day. No, none of them Negroes be up on here when I be talking, but they are here supporting you right now because they
And I
they
appreciate
love
them
each other,
all.
and that's so dope. But just me sitting there and me seeing this something that was a vision of mine, and it was just really just me wanting to just bring some transformation impact to Black women all over the country, and to see it actually in practice is, oh my God, it makes my heart so full. um our meetings are so rich, right? Sometimes we go like way too long and it's like, y'all, we gotta go and let's get off the phone and don't call me because it's a lot. Y'all, I gotta go to bed. It's midnight in on the East Coast right now. But it's, so it's that, you know.
But it's fulfilling. And I don't even think about it. And I'm just like, my grandbaby might be walking in and everything, but I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna continue to stay here. Like, you want to
Yeah,
come say hi?
yeah, it's great. But the thing I like, I'll say this, is I like that they share with each other, right?
Mhm,
That they're pouring into one another, that they're supporting each other.
mhm.
I love that part. What's your favorite part?
That is one of my favorite parts. But what I really love is that we all bring something different to the table. We all have expertise that each of us can benefit from, and that we all share
Yeah,
because we don't have that in the
right.
world. We don't
Yeah,
have that in the world. Some of us don't have that in our families.
yeah,
That's the sad part.
yeah,
And I feel like something that we all said to one another is that, or somebody that's in our group said that we're a wolf pack.
oh, she did.
And I reference that a lot lately.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
my pack
yeah,
because we literally are a pack, and I really really appreciate that.
yeah, yeah,
Like, there's not one person in the group that I feels like they are indifferent or less than or better than anybody.
right.
And you don't get that.
Yeah.
I
That's
just left a group of 50 different women, and I can tell you there was probably two in there out of the 50. So it's just, and I think it was really though a reflection of being in your group first.
mm, that was two of there that were what? That felt like that they were
They probably shouldn't have been there. And
mm,
to be honest with you, the speaker there told one of them not to come back
oh, okay. Clutch my
because we
pearl.
don't need that type of energy, right? Because we're all trying to create something different.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I tell everyone is that some people talk more than others, and then everybody has their moments, right? So you have a moment where you're like, "Oh shoot, look at her. She's like, she's really busting out," or this person is, and I let everybody know I'm very clear that everyone's contribution is equally as important.
But
There's
she also said she gonna challenge you and she gonna make you work, and she has done that with me. Because I had become this hermit and really quiet and this recluse, and
there
I'm
is
just
that, so it's not all like kumbaya either. Oh, it's work.
like this right here. I haven't done this in years.
How you feel?
I wouldn't even. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got nervous in the beginning, and I'm
You
like,
really on groove right now.
and I'm like, I have the brain fog going on because I'm in a flare up right now, you know, and it's just like, wait a minute, I don't know, but you bring about this calmness in me. And it's not like it's not stuff I don't know. I've been doing
Yeah,
this for 22 years.
right. That's the thing about it is I know that you know this stuff. You know this stuff like the back of
I've
your
been
hand.
doing this since 2001
Yeah,
and getting paid well for it.
yeah. So you know what the hell you doing.
But I just been quiet about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So
You've been making me do videos and everything, and I don't like to do videos.
the thing
Like
about
people
you
on them
guys
anyway.
is this is actually a challenge for
It's a
them to
challenge.
get outside of their shell. And I'm
Mhm.
showcasing, there are thousands of people that are watching this right now, Jnet. But I'm making them, and this is on 8 different platforms right now, plus yours. So I'm making them get outside of their comfort zone to do things that they are not used to doing. Because listen, part of growth is being uncomfortable, is getting out of your comfort zone. And so, yeah, this is her, but this is her showcasing her expertise. This is what she does all day, every day. I want more people to see what it is that JNet does. I want people to see that you're a gym, and I want to be able to make sure that people are taking advantage of the things that you're providing. So this is great. I love it.
And I love it.
I'm
I love
excited.
it because I want everybody to know what you do as well.
Well, listen, I'm interviewing people, and that's what I do. Pretty much most of my days are consumed with interviewing people for the next cohort. So I'm interviewing people for cohort 3. We're actually halfway through cohort 2, and I'm telling y'all are just so fucking dynamic. It's just amazing. And it's like, it just continues. But here's the thing. So, I built this great real estate company. And one of the things that the ladies say to me is, we really miss what we had. Cause I moved, I closed the buildings, the buildings. And, I still have a small team, but we don't have what we had because like Net 7, Catalyst was, I took the things from Catalyst and I formed Net 7. And so they really, really miss it. And they're like, don't you miss it? And I'm like, I don't. I love them. I loved it. That was my purpose work at the time, but this is my purpose work now. And so I'm pouring everything into what it is that we're doing inside this group because I really want to. This is my God's given purpose, is to really pour into Black women, because we are the ones. There's that African proverb that says if you teach a man, you teach an individual, but if you teach a woman, you teach a nation. And so I believe that we are the key to closing the wealth gap. I believe that we are going to be the ones to do it. And this is my contribution to closing the wealth gap, is through Black women. And so this is my passion project. This is what I love to do. And so I just want to impact more and more and more people. And so I'm interviewing people for the 3rd cohort, which is going to start at the end of November. And so if you are interested, go to constancecarter.com/net7 collective. And here's the thing. We're getting ready to do work. So the first cohort, which was amazing as well, we still meet. So we decided they didn't want to stop meeting. They love each other so much. So we still meet once a month. And so we do the bonus session. So this month on November 14th is going to be a bonus session. And so we're going to have both cohorts inside the bonus session. So that's when I bring people and talk to us about certain things. And so it doesn't stop beyond the 12 weeks that we have inside cohort. We're still going to be family. We're still going to be working together. We're still, I tell them one of the first things. Well, first of all, I tell them that they have to agree to play full out. They have to agree. They have to sign a contract for the accountability partners. That's how serious I am about accountability, because I want to make sure that you are doing the things that who's your accountability partner?
Candace.
How's that going? Y'all talking?
We text this morning.
Okay, cool. And that's important. So they have to keep in contact with their accountability partners to make sure that they're on track. Candace is now cancer free. Candace had cancer last year. So she just sent out a text yesterday that she's cancer free. So happy about that. But that's important, is that, they're involved and that they're doing the work and that they're growing and that they're learning. So there is that warm cuddly, but there's also we got work too. So we learning about compound interest, we learning how to invest, we learning real estate, we learning how to create trainings and monetize our intellectual property, the things that come easy to us. All of those things are inside the cohort that we are learning. And so watch out. You about to have 100 new Black millionaires in 2024. And I'm super excited about it. Yes.
Absolutely.
So go to
Absolutely.
constancecarter.com/net7 collective if you want an interview. Now, if you want an interview, show up for the interview. I had 4 interviews today.
And she ain't playing when she asking them questions on that interview, y'all.
What person? Like, okay, because what happens is when you schedule an appointment with me, it blocks it off for other people to be able to schedule appointments with me. And there's a lot of interest. And so I had 4 appointments today, girl. 3 didn't show up. And I'm like, so don't schedule an appointment if you ain't gonna show up. Okay. We ain't rescheduling. So somebody.
And I just have to say too, she introduces you to, if you don't mind, real quick, and then we're gonna get off because I don't know how long we're supposed to be on here, but she introduces you to some additional powerhouses during this cohort. So just if you're thinking about signing up, if you want to reach out to me separately and ask some questions, please do so. It's been an amazing journey, and it's good.
Just real quick before we go, because we about to go. Somebody in my DMs talking about who that.
Hey, wait, is he worth?
He's actually from there, but he just moved here.
Hey, I'm on my way.
I
visit quite often.
Yes. So thank you guys, girl. I love you. Don't get off. I'm in the session, but I love you guys for real. I just want the best for you. And this was such fruitful information. Jeanette knows what the fuck she doing. So give her a call. They can go to
LancasterLink.com.
I'm gonna go to that link. Lancaster link. Thank you, Michael. LancasterLink.com. And to schedule your appointment with her so that she can help you establish your business and make your business too legit to quit. All right. So we sure appreciate you tuning in. We love you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. So is this going to end?